If you want to convey an idea with passion and with purpose, this is the book to read.
To Sell is Human isn't just about selling, it's about sales being an important part of what life is.
Anytime Dan Pink comes out with a book, I always make a beeline for the bookstore. They're more than books, they're like primers for life.
He takes in an awful lot of information and spits it back out in a way that makes it more, not less, accessible.
I don't know whether Dan would say this, but one of the ways that I read the book is that it's about relationships.
This idea that selling is part of being human, I very much disagree with. So I think I was really excited to read it, but maybe because of how skeptical I was.
Dan Pink really understands the world we now live in, how it's changing, and what it means for us to turn these changes into an advantage.
To Sell is Human is about how to move people with authenticity, with passion, and with purpose.
Daniel Pink breaks the book into 3 parts. The first part is the rebirth of a salesman.
One day, I went back and looked at my sent emails. I looked at my calendar. I looked at the tweets that I had sent. I realized that an enormous portion of my time involved selling. Not only selling books, but just convincing people, persuading people, cajoling people. I had this bizarre realization that I'm a salesman.
The book truly cemented a suspicion that I've had, which is we're living in a world now where we're all salespeople.
1 in 9 American workers earns their living trying to get someone else to make a purchase. But those other 8 and 9, they're in sales too, in what I call non-sales selling. They are pitching at meetings. They are asking their boss for a raise. They are asking people out on dates.
I don't think I buy the idea that we're all in non-traditional sales selling. I don't see the world that way. And so I think to cast everything in the sales light, I feel like it cheapens it.
You tell people, I'm in sales, you're in sales, we're all in sales now, and people's reaction to it is, oh God.
When I think of salesmanship, I think somewhere between an infomercial and a car dealership.
Sleazy, smarmy, cheesy, slimy. It's like, oh, these are the new 7 dwarves, right? I think that view of sales is a description of the past.
The old school mentality of ABC's Always Be Closing was, despite any resistance, always close the deal. We're living in a very transparent world now. The modern day salesperson can't be selling via manipulation because it's too easy to see through that.
I think that the internet has done a lot to change the way people behave both as salespersons and as consumers. The connection between consumer and producer is now direct, and it makes both of those people a lot more powerful.
Until very recently, the seller always had more information than the buyer. And so the seller can rip you off. In the last 10 years, that information asymmetry has started to end.
And what's required in order to be effective is to be more collaborative and more democratic.
It's not just selling something to somebody, but rather enlisting them in a relationship.
Dan saying, look, the world has changed and we need to grow, we need to shift our mindsets, and here are some things to do to help you along. Dan puts together research that other people have done, and he himself does really interesting research and gives us a new way to see something that we think we completely understand, but we now have an entirely new way to understand it.
One of the things that I talk about in the book is the move from ABC, Always Be Closing, to what I think are the new ABCs, which are attunement, buoyancy, and clarity. Attunement is about seeing the world from someone else's perspective, which is the prelude to actually helping them out. Buoyancy is how do you remain afloat when you're dealing with rejection. Clarity is how do you help people make sense of murky situations and solve problems they don't realize that they have.
In his sort of ABC of selling, Dan gives you the tools to convey a message in a way that's actually going to move somebody and not manipulate them.
I really like the how-to aspect of the book. Do these couple of exercises, try X, Y, and Z.
We're building new muscle, new mindsets, and new habits of relating to others, and he does give us the gym to go to and build that new muscle.
One of the exercises is a test that social psychologists use to measure perspective taking called the E-test.
You know what? I did the E-test. I failed. I was so sure that I was gonna come out on top. It really bothered me that I failed.
You ask the participants, snap your fingers 5 times quickly. Then, on your forehead, draw a capital E. There are 2 ways that I could draw a capital E. The first E, the one that looks like this, I'm taking my perspective. This E, I'm writing it so you can see it. I'm taking your perspective. One of the keys to persuading, influencing, selling other people is to see the world from their perspective. And so if you do this test and you're always going like this, you're gonna have a problem persuading people. For me, the exercises are integral because I want this book to translate into action.
I'm thrilled that he wrote this book. It isn't just about selling. He's teaching us something about sales being an important part of what it means to be human.
Whether we like it or not, we're all in sales. And if we come to appreciate sales as a human endeavor, we'll bring forth our best humanity, and that is to our mutual advantage.
This sleazy, smarmy, cheesy world of sales can become more humanistic. And if we do it more like human beings, we end up doing it better. And you can sleep at night.
Hi, I'm Dov Seidman.
My name is Cathy Salit,
I'm Debbie Millman.
I'm Mike Rugnetta from PBS Idea Channel, and you're watching THNKR.
and you are watching THNKR.
I'm Daniel Pink, author of To Sell is Human, A Whole New Mind, and Drive. If you like what you're seeing, subscribe to THNKR.
You should subscribe to both of our channels, Idea Channel and THNKR, because both of them are awesome, and we're friends. I'm gonna high five the cameraman now.